Rebecca's world turned upside down in an instant. One moment she was moving through the forest, and the next, her body seemed to pass right through a car. No one could see her, no one could hear her. Confusion gripped her until she stumbled upon a chilling sight in the woods. Her own lifeless body. Rebecca was dead, and she didn't know why or how. The realization hit her like a freight train. She was a ghost, trapped in a limbo-like state, unable to find peace until the mystery of her death was solved. As she lingered near the crime scene, two detectives, Bobby and Chris, arrived to investigate. Rebecca watched as they examined her body, noticing strange numbers scrawled on her hand. Desperate to communicate, she tried to explain that she'd come to the forest alone to camp, hoping to clear her mind after a rough patch. But her words fell on deaf ears. Literally, the detectives couldn't hear her, and to her frustration, they seemed more interested in cracking jokes than solving her case. Soon, Sheriff Hedge arrived and handed the detectives Rebecca's ID. Following the lead, Bobby and Chris headed to Rebecca's house to dig deeper. Rebecca followed, her heart sinking as she saw the unfinished pieces of her life projects she'd never complete. Dreams left unfulfilled. The detectives' search turned up nothing significant. No photos of anyone else. No clear connections to family or friends. The case was already hitting a dead end. Then Chris found Rebecca's laptop, and by sheer luck, the password was written on the back. Inside, they discovered a flood of emails from a woman named Christina, Rebecca's best friend. The detectives rushed to Christina's house. When they broke the news of Rebecca's death, Christina broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. She blamed herself, revealing that she'd encouraged Rebecca to go camping to de-stress after a painful breakup with her ex-boyfriend Todd. Hearing this, Rebecca's spirit perked up. Todd, it had to be him. She'd always suspected he had a dark side. Convinced he was her killer, she followed the detectives to Todd's place, hurling insults at him in her ghostly rage. But Todd had an alibi, photos proving he'd spent the entire previous day at his new girlfriend's house. Rebecca's theory crumbled. If Todd didn't kill her, then who did? In her anger, Rebecca lashed out, shoving Todd. To her shock, she realized that when she was furious, she could touch things in the physical world. Meanwhile, the detectives, stumped and frustrated, started bickering. Bobby vowed not to give up on the case, but Chris stormed off, leaving him alone. Rebecca stuck with Bobby, hoping he'd stay focused. Instead, she was crushed to learn he wasn't invested in her case at all. He was distracted, lost in memories of his ex-wife, whose face reminded him of Rebecca's. Disgusted by the detective's lack of effort, Rebecca decided to take matters into her own ghostly hands. She was done relying on others. Sneaking into the evidence room, Rebecca combed through the clues with a clarity only the dead could have. A whip found at the crime scene sparked a memory. Back at her house, she found a photo that stopped her cold. Christina, her best friend, holding that very same whip. Could Christina have betrayed her? Furious, Rebecca raced to Christina's house, confronting her in a one-sided outburst. Christina couldn't hear or see her. In her rage, Rebecca started knocking things over, startling Christina. The commotion drew Christina's younger brother, Henry, into the room. Christina tearfully told him how much she missed Rebecca, her friend of 8 years. Her grief seemed genuine, and Rebecca began to doubt her suspicions about Christina. But something about Henry, a quiet 16-year-old, felt off. Rebecca slipped into Henry's room and uncovered a chilling truth. Henry harbored a deep hatred for women, his room filled with evidence linking him to the crime scene. She remembered a moment when she'd teased him, calling him a virgin king. Had that pushed him over the edge? Determined to bring him to justice, Rebecca gathered the evidence and placed it on Sheriff Hedge's desk. Among the items was a game controller with the same numbers etched on it as those found on her body. It was all coming together. Henry was her killer. When Hedge saw the items, her eyes widened. She knew instantly that Henry was the culprit. As Hedge prepared to crack the case, Rebecca stepped away, her mission complete. But before she left this world for good, she turned to Bobby with a final, unheard plea. Who's teaching kids like Henry to hate women so much that they'd do something like this? You should look into that. She knew Bobby and Chris, too, caught up in their banter, would never hear her. Still, she'd solved her own murder. With that, Rebecca faded from the world, finally at peace.